Dallas, the Luka thing. People are comparing him to the '07 LeBron, which was always the catch with, if you were thinking Dallas maybe had a chance to win the finals, and the history of the truly great guys in the first couple years of their career. You think this is, I think, year 4 for him. Usually by year 4, the truly great guys have at least a couple big playoff moments. He hadn't had it yet. He was absolutely incredible in this game. It was the kind of thing where you had to come out and be awesome right away on the road, and he did. He seemed almost arrogant in a good way. Nobody in the Suns could guard him. He was laughing. He was looking. It was actually like performance art. Like the difference between this and like the LeBron Pistons game is like LeBron was like, he was like a young pup in that game. It was happening. It was like, wow, I can't believe this young guy is doing this to the Pistons. And it was awesome, but he was hitting a lot of jumpers and threes, but it never felt like, oh my God, this guy is psychologically destroying everybody in this building. Luka was like, it was like watching fucking Gladiator. It was really impressive. I mean, he's had a lot of games like this, but this moment in a game 7, I was impressed.
Yeah, it kind of felt like whenever we're talking about guys like this, right? You'd be like, hey, could Luka be the best player in the NBA? When you were saying that, I think in his second year, I was like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? But now it's not an absurd question to ask about him. And then you put together those 2 playoff runs where they lose to the Clippers. And you look back at those numbers, like the first year, you're like, did you see what this guy did? Right. In his second year. And then he's even better. Like those showdowns with Kawhi a couple years ago, like that stuff was just nuts. Right. So then you're kind of like, well, if he's really one of those dudes, it'd be a little unfair. It could be circumstantial. There's not like an absolute for all this stuff. You're like, well, if he's really that guy, then how come he's not going further? And it kind of feels right, though. Like if he's in the league 4 years in, he's a top 5 guy without question. It kind of feels right that he has like, it's not a ring, but that's what that LeBron Cavs series was like for me. It was like a half a ring because that team wasn't that good. And maybe this team is just better and I haven't figured it out. They deserve more credit, I guess I could say it that way. But this isn't like, I don't feel like this is some awesome team. And they do this to Phoenix. And now they have like a legitimate chance at like winning the whole thing. Like, can you go there?
Yeah.
You're there.
I just think it's wide open with these 4 teams. I think you can make a case for all 4 of them. We talked about how Miami has home court in the East Finals and has history of success against the Celtics. I haven't loved what I've seen from Golden State. I think they're a team between 2 eras in some degree. And then this Dallas team, I mean, Dinwiddie had 30 points tonight. Anybody in the league could add Dinwiddie in February. Bertans was one of like the 12 hardest contracts to trade. Bullock was sitting there in free agency for anybody. Josh Green didn't even play. That was like one of their only like higher first round picks they've had the last couple of years. Kleber, the question with him is, can he play 30 minutes in a game without getting hurt? He managed to get through this whole series playing big minutes. Going down the line, it's like, it's pretty flimsy, but the Luka piece, I mean, Luka in this series, 32.6 points a game, 9.9 rebounds, 7 assists, 48.3 field goal percentage.
What do you shoot from 3?
32.8.
I know.
When we talk about it, how's he going to get better? It's when the threes go from 33% to 40 is going to be pretty dangerous for everybody.
It feels like the big ones all go in. I'll tell you that. And you know what's like crazy? He didn't really do that much tonight. Like he didn't have to do that much damage.
The first 5 minutes was what mattered with him.
Right. He gets 8 points. 8 points the first 2 minutes. And
you're on your
right.
heels. The crowd's nervous. The whole thing.
Yeah. And he's sitting there just letting you know it, letting you have it, laughing at you the whole time.
Well, what did they do after game 2? They talked shit to him. What was the thing with Paul and Booker? Where was that after the game? Like they somehow
it was after game 5.
Somehow.
I thought it was after game 5 when he started saying everybody acts tough when you're up.
Oh yeah. That's what it was.
And then they didn't lose again. So he backed it up on top of everything else. Like he's one of those guys that, you know how many players wish they were like that? Like I can
be like that.
I can talk all the shit, but I can completely back it up. to the level that he backs it up. There's not a lot of guys like that, man.
I'm going to compliment him yet again.
He deserves it.
I was so impressed by his defense in this game today. Because the Mavs were I would describe them as swarming. It's really hard to swarm if one of your 5 guys is either out of shape or going through the motions or doing the Olay defense. The question with him was always, can you survive with him defensively? The first 2 games, the Suns hunted him, the whole thing. By this game, he was flying around. He was very active. And you couldn't hunt him because he was really giving a shit on both ends. It was a 2-way performance, which is one of the things I loved about it. 35 and 10, but I thought his D was good. I don't know what the advanced stats were for when he got matched up. I thought there was a spirit to him on both ends that he doesn't always have. The stakes were absolutely higher to me.
But I think the other thing that's kind of like, because at times when I don't like it, it would remind me a little of Harden-ish. You know what I mean? That ISO stuff.
Yeah.
And, everything.
He's better than Harden ever was.
But there's a flow to it with him that I think is a little different. Like, I think Harden, at the peak of it, it felt like you were watching somebody play basketball. Like you were on the team with the guy and you were just sitting there watching it. And there are times with Luka where I'm like, is it like that? But I don't know, man. Like the way they get that ball pinging around and the system around him allows you to not really have to have like premier talent. I mean, Brunson's really good. I get a little sick of watching him fall down for fucking 2 hours. I still can't believe he got them to challenge something where he convinced himself he was hit in the face in an earlier game in the series when he wasn't. He was so convinced of it that he was like, yep, we got to challenge this one. We're like, you just faked yourself out. You know what I mean? Like when you start thinking about how many guys would you want? Who's the second player that you're picking ahead of any of the Warriors? Are you picking Brunson ahead of Clay? His version of Clay?
Yes.
Oh.
Not even close.